about a new bully defense tool called the bully interview. Now, who knows what an interview is? What do you think an interview is? Yes? Okay, right. It's a conversation meant to find out something about someone else. Make sense, guys? And usually they do it where one person is the boss in a company and they're trying to hire somebody. Does that make sense? So they give them a job interview. And they're trying to find out whether that person will be a perfect person for their job. So bullies do that too. And I kind of think of it a little bit like sharks. Everyone go, sharks? Yeah, sharks. So if we think about sharks, they've got sharp teeth. Yes. They have amazing sense of smell, lousy eyes. So they kind of go in the water and they bump into something. And when they bump into something, guess what happens? Close, they bite it. Now, if it's a seal, or it tastes like a seal, guess what's going to happen? Chomp, 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 chomp. Okay? Now, if it's a surfboard, it's going to go, and it's going to move on to bite something else. Does that make sense? Bullies are like that. Okay? So what'll happen is, a bully will interact with you kind of like they're going to do an interview for you. And they're going to see if they want to hire you as their own target, so they can bully you. Make sense, guys? Okay? And it happens a lot around this time of year, the beginning of school. Because very often, the classes get mixed up, different people are in different classes, some kids move from one school to another, and then what happens is, a lot of times that social ladder that a lot of times bullies really think is a big deal, which is kind of nonsense, but they want to be up high on the social ladder, so they'll kind of pick on other kids to feel up here, so they can have power over people down there. Does that make sense? So this time of year, in the beginning in September, is a time that bullies become very active, interviewing people for their target job. Like, ugh. So there are two types of bully interviews, and they're essentially the same thing. One is the verbal interview. Now, what is verbal? Yes. Speaking, yes. Talking, yes. Like I'm doing right now. Everyone go, all right. And then there's physical, the physical interview, which is, well, yes? Right, someone grabbing, pushing, shoving, headlocking, Darth Vadering, right, guys? All right? But they're both to show that one person's up higher than the other person. They have power over you. Does that make sense? So your job is to fail the interview. You're like, I don't want this job. I don't want to be the target. Go somewhere else. You guys understand? And the secret is how you deal with the person. So if I have my good friend Sage, can you help me please? So if Sage is right here, and she looks at something about me that makes me a little different than all of you. What is that? What physical attribute is it? Christina? I am bald. I am? Yes, I am bald. I am bald. So she looks at me and she says, quit it. Quit it. Okay? Or I could react this way. She calls me, go ahead, Baldy, same thing. Stop! Leave me alone. Okay? So what's the difference between the first way and the second way? Let's look at the first way. Go ahead. Quit it. And the second way. Stop! Leave me alone. So what did I do in the first one? There's several things I did in the first one that were different than the second one. What's one thing? Yes?
Well, one thing that was the attitude.
Okay,
they really care about it. They really cared about it the second time.
Okay, but what are the physical things about me? Yes?
Your head's down.
Okay, close, that's good. So kind of my posture. My body, I'm slumping, my head's up, my shoulders are back. Okay, does this look like a superhero? Does this look like a superhero? This looks weak, this looks strong. So I have strong posture. What's the next thing?
Your voice. In the second one, you sounded
the first time I sounded weak. The second time I sounded strong, strong voice. And there was one last thing that was very important, yes? Eye contact. In the first one I had a weak eye contact, and the second one I had very strong eye contact. Okay? Now, when I say, stop, leave me alone, what is she going to do if she wants to keep power over me? Yes? Yes? Well, close. She's going to yammer. Remember, bullies yammer. Why do bullies yammer? We talked about this. Yes?
Because they're trying to
Close. They want to keep what over you? Well, the bullies want to keep power over you. And yammering is a way of keeping power. Okay? So you expect them to yammer, but you keep strong. Because one of the things my teacher taught me that was really interesting is bullies really don't change their strategy. You know, they don't go, oh, okay, this doesn't work. I'll figure out some other way to bully them. They'll be like, I'm gonna change my target. So she goes to me and says, kind of like that shark, she bites into me and she's like, I don't like that taste. Guess what? She'll go to the next person, the next person, the next person. So she finds that person that she can use that strategy of bullying on. Does that make sense? All right. Now there's physical bullying. There's a physical interview too. Okay. So the physical interview is a little bit different. So can I use you for a second? I need someone to be her helper. Okay. So, but they're gonna have to not mind her being like a physically bullying to them. Is that okay? So that kind of, she won't do anything hard, but just kind of show something. Is that okay? I'm gonna have Yvonne. Yvonne, right here, please.
Yes, sir.
So she might come behind someone and grab him in a headlock and say, hey. Go ahead, say, hey. You understand? You guys seen this before in school? One guy's kind of, and they might be like, hey, give him a noogie. He comes up and he says, give him a noogie. I'll give him a noogie. You understand? Or maybe she's like giving him the Darth Vader. Actually, maybe you can do the Darth Vader. So right there, right on their neck. And just choking. I saw that in school the other day too. How many of you guys have seen that? Or he'll grab her by behind her neck and push her down. How many of you guys have ever seen that in school? Where one kid's kind of trying to have power over another one? Well, that's physical bullying. And what she could do is she removes his hands off her, and she steps back and says, stop, leave me alone, in a really strong voice. Go ahead.
Stop, leave me alone.
And he'll yammer, oh, what you can do about it? She's strong again. Stop! In a strong voice, stronger.
Stop!
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
All right, give her a hand, please. Good job. So that's how you deal with it. Now, remember, it's September, and all those kind of silly people who like to bully are looking to give some people a bully interview. Okay? So it's time that you need, if all the times you want to be strong, maybe a little bit kind of not going to put up with something, it's now. Later on, you can kind of go with the flow a little bit, but right now, let's not let them put you in a place on that social ladder that's so silly. Does that make sense, guys? So everybody look at me. So if I'm kind of being not very nice, you just look me in the eye, put your hands up there, say, stop!
Stop!
No, you're perfect. You did what I wanted. High five. I don't really worry about you standing up to people. Ready? On your marks, you say, stop!
Stop!
Wow. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone!
Don't worry about her voice too. Hands down. Because remember, the shark goes, ow, that doesn't taste very good. I'm going to go somewhere else. So the more we can practice that strong voice, that warrior voice, the less of a target we are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the bully interview. And this is the time to be aware of it so you can be strong so in case some silly person is doing something silly. But some people don't even realize they're doing it. Good. Everybody got it? Can I get an okie dokie? Well done, guys. Pat yourself on the back, please. Give yourself a high five. Go like that. Okay, good job, guys. That's it.